SBF will not be punished. Mark my words, neither one of them will be punished. We, the industry, will be punished. Did you watch the last part where he was giving him the email analogy and having Sam then try to refute? Okay. Sam was looking at his feet. His right arm was shaking. He went and He was a huddled mass.
He wasn't even on camera half the time. The camera was on top of his head, and stuff. And I've seen enough of his interviews that he's at least enough tech savvy. I'm like, what's going on here? He knows when the camera's not placed on him, and he seemed distracted. That wasn't the Sam Bankman-Fried I've seen in other interviews.
They are pawns in a chess game. And he is not the grandmaster. CZ is not.
So we should go to Caroline's father and who Caroline's father worked with? Is that the next point we want to go? Caroline's father is the head of the economics department at MIT. Where Sam
Shocking.
And
that was the boss of?
The boss of Gary Gensler when he was doing his blockchain course over at MIT. His boss,
Gary has a job now. Gary has a job now.
Yeah, I think it's the Southeastern Conference. Oh, no, the other is.
It was laid out in November of last year, line by line. And what they accused, we all accused Citadel or JP Morgan or something like that, BlackRock. Let me go with this for a second. What if it was them?
Welcome back to Crash and Edy. Edy is by himself tonight. So, just want to do a quick Flare update for you guys. There's a lot going on in crypto right now. Just wanted to address, I know the last Flare update that I gave you guys, it was imminent that they were going to have the token event. So, we're going to update you on that and just catch up on a couple things. Flare and a lot of these cryptos that I think are going to be successful are going to have utility. So that's what you're looking at right now, utility. Real cryptos being used to solve real problems. So hit the like and subscribe. Let's get into this. Let's get you a quick update on Flare and let's talk. Okay, so as usual, we'll link this stuff down below so you guys can refer to it. But just to refresh, Flare is all about DeFi, decentralized finance. My take, and I know Crash's too, I think, is that DeFi is going to be the new bond market at some point. Everything's going to be tokenized, debt and equity, and this is going to be probably one of the premier DeFi platforms. We'll see if it is or not, but so they've had a number of delays. If you recall, they did drop Songbird in between. A lot of centralized exchanges still have not released the Songbird tokens to people that got caught up on centralized exchanges. Just more games that they play. It's unfortunate. I know Coinbase, for example, still has not released their Songbird, and they've been collecting tokens on it for over a year now. I think it was a year in September. So, sad but true fact. Now, Songbird, in their defense, they didn't plan on that, and exchanges, they don't have to. They can get tokens thrown at them at any point, and they don't have to deal with that. That's just added work for them. But by the same token, you are in the crypto business, and why wouldn't you deal with it for your users, that you supposedly value? So anyways, that's the biggest one that didn't. I know Uphold took care of their users, so again, Uphold's probably an interesting, if you got to go centralized, that's an interesting exchange. A lot of people are going to decentralized now. So anyways, so just to refresh some of the tokenomics, total token distribution on day one, 100 billion Flare tokens. 28.5 billion Flare distributed directly to community members over 36 months. 20 billion Flare available to community members who bring value into the Flare network. So they're changing this a little bit. You're going to get a 15% drop right away, and then you're going to get about 3% a month. But it's now, and I don't know if this has actually been pushed through yet, because I think they have to wait to do that to once it launches, but they want to reward people that are in the network by basically, if you are at least delegating your tokens, you're going to continue to get the 3%, and you're going to get people that don't delegate their tokens. So there's a lot going on with this airdrop, but so it's 100 billion total. And then, so going on, 9.8 billion Flare allocated to the Flare Foundation for community ecosystem initiatives. Team advisors and backers, 5.7 billion Flare to be provided to early stage backers. Vesting from month 6, 13.5 billion Flare allocated to existing and future team members plus advisors. The team is restricted to selling their Flare in the first 6 months, no more than 10% of their holdings in the first 12 months, and no more than 25% inclusive of the initial 10% of their holdings within the first 18 months. Total 19.2 billion Flare. So, Flare entities, 12.5 billion Flare allocated. Okay, so 58, 78. Okay. Interesting. So yeah, I hadn't actually reviewed this page, so it's pretty much, so here's what the distribution looks like. It all adds up to 100 billion. The word is you're going to be highly, highly rewarded for participating and not just dumping your tokens, but you can dump your tokens. I mean, either way, but, yeah, so the thing is here is we got, basically they have come out now and said they anticipate the token distribution event by January 9th of 2023. So, and I think this one, this is hard to believe, but I think this date is actually going to stick. So they had the Genesis, which was on July 14th. That's when they actually launched the network. Did a lot of testing. They're in beta now. And the tokens just have not been, the token distribution event has not occurred yet. So, but, so the reason they put for that was that the centralized exchanges, they wanted to, and where is that here? Let's just see. The centralized exchanges, they wanted to wait for them so that they would be ready to go. It is, in there, I think there is some art to some of this in that you don't want to drop in the worst of markets, which they were heading into this whole time, really. I mean, since July, that's what it's been. So they opted to delay it a little bit, I think, because of that, but they're putting in, their official reason is to let the exchanges that have committed to handling this, like Coinbase didn't commit to Songbird, but they did commit to Flare. So all the exchanges, same with Uphold, same with, basically, all of the exchanges that committed. So, yeah, I noticed on this site that they no longer have all the exchanges listed, which they update stuff. Their site has definitely been evolving and stuff, so that's gone, and that's, neither here nor there, I guess. But here is their roadmap, which you can see July 4th was the launch. They did hit that. But they did not hit the token distribution event. So, so this hasn't actually occurred. There's been no tokens distributed. The governance update is where they're going to say that's going to be the first thing that happens after the distribution event. And basically they're going to say, the heart of that is, they're going to basically try and reward people that actually use the tokens, which is, it's pretty interesting they're doing that. I mean, it's great for the people that, they are taking care of the network, and they have the right to do it, but they did commit to not having to do that. So it's an example of, stuff can change over time, and they're going to do what's best for the network. The cool thing about this, though, is once this thing launches, it's all up to the community. It's all going to be up to the governance votes, and, you're going to basically determine how the network goes. That said, my understanding is whoever holds most of the tokens is going to determine the network and how it goes. So I think they'll do what's best for the community. It's going to be really cool to just see this use it. Using Songbird, it is, I get where they're going with this. It's pretty cool to just take part in that. Let's take a look at that for just a second here. So here's Songbird on CoinMarketCap. I mean, if you bought at any point, like a lot of tokens, you got burned. Any time up here, I mean, this is all time. It was doing pretty good, and then to where it is. So, but the network's effective. I mean, it's for what it's doing and stuff. I think it's a legit DeFi network. I mean, they're still expanding on it. I think hasn't even begun really to turn into what its potential could be. Remember, Polkadot did this with Kusama, so that's like their Songbird network. So it is a legit layer 1 network. Songbird is, and so is Flare. And some projects might just stay on Songbird. I mean, from what I've seen, I mean, I could see that happening. I mean, everything's not going to just go to Songbird and then move right into Flare. But you're going to have to be tested on Songbird before you go to Flare. So I don't think this thing's going to sit at 1 cent forever. I really don't. I think it's really interesting right now looking at this one. Again, no financial advice. We don't do that. This is just for educational purposes. But, it depends if you are buying Songbird. It depends on when you're buying it. You are getting about, right now, 30-40%. I'd say anywhere from 25 to 40% in tokens a year. So it's kind of interesting, and it is true DeFi. So you can learn about DeFi and actually get a yield from it. And it is decentralized, and you are out of the system by being on it. So it's interesting. Again, I think so that's just Songbird. That was just a total kicker for being involved in the network. Like any networks, you get rewarded for being in early, for taking the risk of something that could be a complete flop and nothing, because unlike stocks and bonds and other types of investments, these are networks, and they need people to participate for a network to even exist. So that's a big piece of it. So they do definitely reward you. And, you have to take advantage of opportunities. But anyways, so yeah, I think getting back to Flare, I do believe that this one is going to stick, and that January 9th, my sources have said that, I couldn't find where it was, but I heard that basically Hugo has said it's January 9th or bust. So that being said, I think that's going to be the case, because it turns into a credibility issue. I think the markets are going to be very different as we proceed to the end of this year and into next year. So we'll see. I don't know. My gut tells me that they're going to get this launched, and it might even be before January 9th. So I think there's incentives to get into the next year. I think with regulations going down, all this stuff, all the dirty work's being done right now. So we'll see where everything goes with the space in general. But it seems like, there's a lot going on. A lot of stuff has been delayed until the beginning of next year because people want to see what's going on, just get into the new year for tax reasons and all that stuff. And it's just an ugly crypto winter, although it hasn't been as ugly as some other ones in a lot of respects, especially with everything going on. I mean, you're seeing a lot, quite a bit going on. It's really telling, how these cryptos are acting, which with all that's going on with the major economy. Bitcoin's 16.4. It's been pretty stable there. Ethereum 1200. XRP's been showing a lot of strength. It's at 40 cents. So a lot of opportunities for people. So don't forget, not financial advice. Hit the like and subscribe on your way out. We'll see if January 9th, don't hold me to that, but I think this one's going to stick, so it should be early next year that the Flare network drops and they have the token distribution event, and then you're going to learn a lot, and we'll see what this network is all about. I mean, there's definitely some stuff that's centralized about Flare that you may or may not like, Are you going to have to KYC eventually? You might. Is it, they're really, honestly, they're playing into the centralized exchanges, which is unfortunate, but you got to play that game, they're doing what it takes to get the network launched, and just because that's a starting point doesn't mean it's the end point. I think exchanges are changing a lot. I think exchanges are going to continue to evolve. We're going to do a video on some exchange information that just came out about what the SEC is trying to do with some exchanges, some changes they're making to them. So, we'll see where all this goes. It's quite a bit to deal with here. But, there's also a lot of opportunity. So, I don't know. This one has been really frustrating to people. I mean, I definitely get it. It's been definitely frustrating. Building tech, though, I know from experience, it's hard. Building good tech is hard. It takes time and money and a lot of good people that care a lot to get good tech built. And, you start building tech around money and around finance, it's heavy duty stuff. And this stuff's never been done. So, I hope they hit early January. I bet it's going to be before January 9th sometime. And I think that'll kick off a great year in 23 with a lot of opportunities. So, anyways, hit the like and subscribe on your way out. Do the right thing. And remember, this is not financial advice. Do your own research, but take advantage of opportunities and give back wherever you can. Pay it forward, people, when you have the rare opportunity, because sometimes it's more rare than you think. All right. We'll see you on the next one, and hit us with any comments or questions. And don't forget, we're going to have a giveaway very soon, it looks like. It shouldn't be too much longer, so that'll be good. Maybe Songbird will be part of that. So, talk to you soon.
If you're a regulator, which group would you investigate first? A shady offshore group, not incorporated in the U.S., with their major investor, the Chinese national. That's nothing against Chinese nationals, but that, we have this weird thing in the U.S. against China now. It's like the Soviet Union. Or would you go after a firm based in New Jersey or a firm based in Kansas City that, does crypto lending? I don't know. I probably would go after the offshore one. Oh, no. So, Otteroo, which, by the way, the Otteroo Twitter account, shut down, gone. How did Otteroo get inside documents on Celsius and leak them? And then who shows up to save them? Oh, FTX. And then they decide not to. Oh, how does Otteroo get inside documents on BlockFi and leak them? And who shows up? FTX. Voyager. Shocking. FTX. So what if, right? Again, go all the way back to the beginning. This was the plan to say, what is the greatest threat to the banks? What's the greatest threat to the banks?
A new financial system.
A new financial system.
Based on self-sovereignty.
Based on self-sovereignty. Things like stable coins. If $1 million leaves the banks and goes into a stable coin, do the banks care? Whatever. $1 billion. Don't care. $100 billion? Now we have a problem. So, what do? You attack the stablecoin first with your organization that you set up, that they set up. Gensler and Ellison and Fried. Is it lost on anyone the irony that Sam Bankman Fried? Am I the only one that sees that? Right?
Yeah.
You pronounce it Fried, but it's written Fried, and it's Bankman. So the banks organized this whole thing. They took down Luna, and what happened the next day? Literally, not even 12 hours after Luna collapsed. Who was on TV calling for regulation of stablecoins? Janet Yellen. And here's the thing: it's all going back to Sam's mom. It's all going back to the Democratic Party. Y'all do know, right, that we had the big memo yesterday, the humble brag from Sequoia. Oh, yes, we lost $150 million, but we've made $7.4 billion on our other stuff. Love that. You guys do know that Sam personally invested $500 million into Sequoia and one other firm. And where did that money come from?
Where did that money come from? I actually
It's
looked
part of
at
the
that
whole.
and I was like,
Michael,
I was like,
the
where
whole.
is this?
It's the whole. This is a money laundering. This is a money laundering front for the Democratic Party. This whole thing, this entire organization, is funneling money into, because who are the partners of those Silicon Valley firms contributing to the super PAC that Sam's mom runs? Check it out. This is one of the most unbelievably elegant takedowns of a competitive threat. This rivals what, to your point, back to history, what J.P. Morgan and John D. Rockefeller did to the Knickerbocker Trust and the entire trust industry when the trust industry was taking share from their beloved banking industry. They spread a rumor that Knickerbocker Trust, was insolvent. You've seen the picture, the men and women in their top hats and their dresses and their umbrellas doing the run on the bank. Who stepped up to personally guarantee J.P. Morgan?
JP.
And look, we've all heard over the years, at some point the government's just going to ban it. Well, you can't ban a decentralized thing, right? It's like squeezing air in a balloon. The air just goes someplace else. But what you can do is you can destroy the on-ramps and off-ramps. You actually can't even ban those because they'll just move to another jurisdiction. But you can do what they just did. You can sow the seeds of doubt, create the bank run that Jim just described, and then you end up with an obliteration